All right, share the screen. All right, so you guys can see the 13 ways to generate listings in a low inventory market. So this is our topic today. Can you both hear me okay? And
I hear you.
Okay. All right, so this is a cool topic. This actually came from RedX. So there's an article that I saw yesterday, the day before, and I thought it was pertinent to what we have been talking about with a lot of people today. Because we are in a down market. So I will send this out to you guys as soon as the call's done. But these are what we're going to be going over. It's 13 ways to kind of drum up some business and some listings. So we'll get right into it, and we'll go to number one. So we talk a lot about contacting your sphere of influence to generate business. So what does that mean? So for experienced agents, that's your past clients. That's anyone that's worked with you. For new agents, that's people that you've worked with in anything, any sphere. So, like Al, for instance, you've been in the contracting sphere. So anyone that has utilized you in your services, in the past, that already knows, like, and trusts the way you do business. Those are some people that you want to definitely reach out to and say hi to, and just remember, and kind of, see what they have going on. If maybe they're willing to sell, or maybe they're willing to talk to you, or if they know of anyone. So that's a sphere of influence. It could be family members. It could be just anyone in your phone book that you haven't caught up with in a while. But the key to this is consistency. So you don't want to just call them once. You want to either call them and then send them a thank you card, and then maybe add some value to their life. So during your conversation with them, they say, "Oh, I really got into fostering dogs." If you come across an article or something that is along those lines, and you're kind of connecting with them, that's a good way to, like, continuously keep in contact with them, so you're staying top of mind with your sphere of influence. So, as it says right here, a simple 5-minute call every 4 to 6 months could mean thousands of dollars in commissions in the road. So you want to be following up with them every few months, just saying hi, getting your name in front of them. It's a really good way to kind of get your sphere of influence going and helping you. And in each one of these, they have a script. So you can read through the scripts. I'm only going to go through a couple of different ones today, but this isn't the one. So, as I said, I'll send this out, so you'll be able to go through it. If you want to use them. But I always recommend making the scripts into your own, so that way it doesn't sound scripted. So when you're talking to people that you've known forever, they're not thinking that you're just reading off a piece of paper. You want to make sure it's authentic. All right. So create an incentivized referral program. Now you got to be careful with this one, because you can't, because you cannot obviously say, "Hey, if you give me a referral, I'm going to give you X amount of dollars." But what you can do is treat them to a nice dinner. Be like, "Hey, if you know anyone, please send them my way. And hey, if for your generosity, I want to repay you with a gift card, or taking you out to dinner," or something like that. So people that you're comfortable with, people that you are really you want to energize your base to get them to refer to you. This is another way you can do it. This isn't my favorite piece, but it does work. If you do it right, you can definitely incentivize people for helping get you more business and getting you referral programs. So some people to talk about a hot market with, empty nesters, soon to be empty nesters. So these are maybe, especially right now, where you're seeing all these pictures of, first days of senior year of high school, or, sending my kid off to freshman year of college or whatnot. Those are people that are soon going to be thinking about downsizing and whatnot. So who can you think of? Who's on your Facebook right now? or Instagram or whatever social media outlet you're using, that you're seeing those kind of like, and first year pictures of going to whatever, but they're kind of their kids are now, you can see they're grown up, they're maybe a senior in high school, freshman in college, and so they maybe not needing that much space anymore. Reach out to them, because then they can capitalize on a lot of things. And the college thing also is kind of a cool way to go about it, because you can also have that investment conversation with them as, hey, listen, one idea that's come up is, you pay a lot of money for room and board for your kid to go to college. Have you considered taking that money that you're spending for room and board and actually buying an investment property in that local area, and then charging your roommate, your son or daughter's roommates, to rent rooms from it, because it's cheaper for them. It becomes a money maker for you, and then you have an asset coming out of college that either your son or daughter can utilize or take over, or you can then sell and whatnot. So that's been a very successful thing that a lot of people are doing right now. So if as I said, you see those pictures of kids going off to college or whatnot, it might be a good conversation to see what, something they haven't thought about, but it also sets you apart as a local expert that you can help them in any potential way. So, you can see growing families too. Social media is huge for this section, because you can really see what people are doing, what's going on in their life, and how can you incorporate real estate to potentially help them, and also drum up more business for you. So individuals who own more homes, I look for a lot of absentee owners right now as well. That's something that, if they already have a place that they're going to, that their second home or their investment property, it's time for them to talk about it and at least think about cashing in on their, equity that they've built up. So using social media to keep leads coming to you. So this is huge, but you see the stats right there. Between 46 and 51% of adults in the US are using social media, or some form of it, especially since the pandemic. They've been cooped up. It's keeping them entertained. So if you're not using social media, you're missing a big opportunity, to potentially drum up some business, or at least help you with your branding efforts. So, the more you talk about you being a realtor, the more people are going to see it, and it kind of keeps going from there. And then you get into the whole, paid advertisements and whatnot. And then, you can really expand your reach pretty quick. See, yep, the paid ads and targeted ads. Also with social media, just remember, keep in mind with targeted ads, you are specifically, if you have a group of people that you're looking to get networked with, you can be as specific as you want. If you want to say, I want to network with blonde hair, brown eyed people in, Central Florida, you can actually get that specific, and they can find those people for you. So non-real estate events, networking is huge. As the restrictions are starting to lift, networking groups are starting to get back face to face. It's important to note that when you're at these networking events, especially a non-real estate one, don't just go and sit to the same people that you talk to over and over, that's your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone, introduce yourself to people you don't know, and see where the conversation leads. So you never know who's going to be at those events. I've met some incredible people and done some incredible deals in business with people just because I went up and shook their hand and said, oh, hey, what do you do? And asked them about what they're looking to do, who they are, and what they're looking to accomplish. So once you find those things, you get that know, like, and trust. And then they'll ask you, well, what do you do? And now all of a sudden you're in a conversation about real estate. So definitely venture out. Don't stick to the same people over and over again. If there's someone you don't know or don't recognize, go introduce yourself. These are some different groups to think about. So neighborhood groups, sometimes they do walking groups, sometimes they do poker nights, sometimes they do all that. Hobbies, something you're getting involved with on people's personal level, as far as, you're identifying with them as, car enthusiast, or a car enthusiast. I can't say that word, enthusiast, or something along those lines, model airplane, whatever it is, whatever you're into, see if there's a club out there, or at least people that are joined in a group, because now you're connecting with them at the level that they're looking to kind of, it creates that bond right away. Client appreciation parties are good. So, as soon as you start doing it, you can do it for referral partners. You can just do it just to have a party where you invite a bunch of people. You rent out a room, maybe you have some drinks there, but it's a good way to give back and say, thank you very much for the past business, or, I want to bring you in. Another good thing to think about too is, now that you have all these, the schools are going back, you can sponsor a breakfast or a lunch for the teachers and make it a lunch and learn, or something that just right after school, you bring in, Panera, and you get a mortgage broker to hop on board with you. And you now are talking to them about first time home buyers programs, or specific funding for teachers or veterans, or whatever the cause is. There's a lot of special funding out there for them. You can start doing these educational opportunities where you're going to these places, and now you're setting yourself as the local expert, and also you're providing value to them, because you're giving them the information, or connecting them with the information, so that they know and are well informed about what they potentially could and could not afford, the programs that are specifically geared towards them. So that's a really good idea as well. If you want to try to coordinate that, let me know, and I can definitely get you in touch with some of our mortgage brokers if you don't have one. And so you can start doing, kind of marketing those events. But that's definitely a way to drum up some business. Chamber of Commerce, new business fair, trade shows, startup events, ribbon cuttings for new businesses. All those things are good, because you're supporting local people that are trying to get their business going, and they would want to reciprocate. If you're helping them, they're going to want to help you. All right. Circle prospecting, geo leads. We've talked a lot about this, but this is a good way, and I will go over this script real quick. This is a really good way of, you're not really, going right at them, but you're asking for them to either, if they're interested in their house, or knowing what their house is worth. But you always want to, with circle prospecting, is you always want to ask if they know any of their neighbors that have talked about it. So this is a script that, Red X has, hello, is this Mr. and Mrs. Smith? Homeowner says yes. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. This is Rob McCallum with Exit Right Realty, and I'm just calling around your neighborhood to help people find out what their home was worth. Is that something you'd be interested in? And they respond, no, thank you. I'm all set. No worries. But before you go, I do want to tell you that the market is extremely hot, and homeowners are cashing out of thousands of dollars of equity to upgrade their home. Would you like to see how much equity you potentially have? So this is the script that they offer. The one that I found actually really good is, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. This is Rob McCallum calling from Exit Right Realty. I'm actually just calling around the local neighborhood. As I'm sure you've seen, the market is extremely hot right now, and things are flying off the shelves. So we are very low on inventory. And I'm not sure if you're interested or not, but I would love to have a conversation with you about what your home is worth. But moreover, I'm looking to see if you've had any conversations with your neighbors that might be interested in selling, because I've got a lot of buyers that are looking to potentially move into the area, and I just don't have a home to put them in. So if you or your neighbors are, if you've had any conversations, I'd love to get in touch with them. Do you have 5 minutes to give me some names? And generally they will stop and they will think, and they will be like, oh yeah, you know what, John down the street, I just talked to him the other day, and he was talking about potentially listing or getting his house ready. So, and I have gotten 3 or 4 referrals based off of that. So that's another kind of script that you can look at, that really can help you get referrals and not feel like that they just want to hang up the phone with you quick. So um, that's a good one. So circle prospecting is a good way to do that. You just pick a neighborhood and you just go at it. Circles prospecting for your buyer. So if you have a buyer but you don't have a home for your buyer, create one. So this is really what, this is happening because you're calling homeowners and you're saying, hey, I have a buyer and your home meets their criteria. Have you considered selling? And would you be interested in a conversation about what your house would be worth? Because I do have a buyer that's looking for a property just like yours. So that's the circle prospecting for your buyer. You have a specific need that you need filled. And so you're calling people to say, we can make this quick and easy. And then you just picked up a listing. Become your neighborhood expert. So we've talked a lot about door knocking and generating leads that way. So, door knocking takes more time, but it gets you face to face with homeowners. And especially if you're coming at them with knowledge of the area, knowing your numbers, come prepared with what's recently sold in the neighborhood, the addresses, the price points, what's currently active on the market, so that you are a source of knowledge for them when you're knocking on the door, because they're probably going to tell you that they're not selling their house and they're going to die there and whatever. But at the same point, they are going to think about it. And there's like, oh, well, this could really help XYZ. My grandson is going to college and I know that the parents are struggling. So I could really help them out by, downsizing or whatever it may be. So there are extending circumstances where people will actually then think about it after you leave, and you will get some phone calls back. So the more you do it, as I said, all of this stuff is just gaining activity, getting you in front of more people and giving you more potential opportunities to make a sale. So door knocking, we've talked a lot about in our last couple of talks here, but here's a nice little script, that you, as I said, when we email it out to you, you can look at it and kind of make it your own. So when you're doing this, and we have had a few people that have had really good success. Deb and Colleen went out. I know that I think Nate was doing some door knocking. I know Bernadette and Bonnie went out and they had success and they were able to talk to a bunch of people, and it was a very pleasant experience. So this is a good way to do it. It's getting you face to face, and people really have a hard time saying no. So if they are, when you're face to face, so if you do get someone that you're talking to and they're like, oh yeah, actually I was thinking about potentially selling, and I would love to have that conversation about what my home's worth, then you've already been face to face, you've already established that connection, and now you're in, and you're going to be at least interviewing for that position. Using market insight to stand out. So as we just talked about, know your numbers, know the area, know exactly what's going on in that neighborhood, and become that expert. So there's a ton of different resources out there. RedX has a market insight that you can use. NAR has a lot of good stats, but just utilizing the local board and what is going on in that particular neighborhood is also going to be a huge help for you. So make sure you're mastering that. And again, here's another just little script that you can use about being a market expert and using the insight script. So it kind of just tells you, average price per square foot, gets them thinking like, okay, $210 per square foot in my area. Oh, wow, that's like 400,000. I only paid 197 for my house. That's a pretty good uptick. So, get them thinking, get them, the percentage going up in the neighborhood. It gets them thinking, and it just sparks ideas in different conversations. Or, as you said, like they talk to their neighbors and they know that the neighbor's in a sticky situation, they might give you a referral. So call for rent by owner. So this is something that, if you see a for rent by owner, a lot of things have happened and transpired over this last year where people weren't paying their bills, landlords are now burnt out, they weren't getting the help and support from the local governments. They just started lifting the eviction notices, so now that people can actually be evicted, it might be a really good time for the current landlord to sell and cash out on their investment and not be a landlord anymore. A lot of them are tired. A lot of them don't want to have to deal with it anymore. And a lot of them saw the big downsides of being a landlord over this last year. So if you see, when you're driving around and you see a for rent by owner, or just one of those red signs in the driveway, or in the front yard, give them a call and just say, hey, listen, I'm a local realtor, and I'd love to talk to you about what your home's worth if you sold it, or if I can help you find renters, please let me know, and I would be happy to have that conversation. Anything to get in front of them, because you never know where the conversation is going to go, and they could end up having 17 units that you're like, you know what, yeah, I'm just tired of being a landlord, I want to get rid of them all, please let's figure it out. And then they end up listing with you. That has happened before. So definitely look for those for rent by owners, and give them a call and just see what that landlord is looking to accomplish. And here's some probing questions that you can ask. So why are you renting out the property? Are you planning on holding onto it for a while? How long have you had it? Do you have an exit strategy? All these good things. So these are some probing questions that then can lead you down that rabbit hole of what their main goal is. Calling old expireds to list their home. So expireds have already said, hey, I want to list, I want to use a realtor, but for whatever reason, the experience wasn't a successful one for them. So calling old expireds is definitely working, and especially in this market. If you go back 2 or 3 years and you see, hey, I saw that you listed your house a couple years ago. It's a totally different market today. Would you be interested in looking at what it's worth today and potentially relisting? And ask them why do you think the house didn't sell 2 years ago? What do you think was, the primary issues? And then that gives you the leg up to be able to swoop in and say, hey, this is what we offer, this is what we do, this is how I can rectify that situation, and this is what I do differently that would prevent that pain point from happening again. So old expireds, and again, there's another script right there that you can use and make your own. For sale by owners. So this is a really good one. Even though the for sale by owners right now can pretty much sell it, it's a strong market for them, but they're still missing a lot of different steps. So if you kind of have a consultative approach, like, hey, listen, there's 184 steps between contract to close that you're going to have to deal with, are you prepared? It's a lot more than just putting it on the market and having it sold. Another approach that we find somewhat successful so far is by saying, hey, listen, I get you want to try to sell the house on your own. I totally respect that. But have you considered what you're going to do next? Are you, when you buy your house, have you started looking? What are you looking to accomplish on the buy side? I'd love to be able to help you through that process, as the seller pays my commission. So technically that would be a free representation for you. So, I want to help you on the buy side. And then what that ends up happening is you find them the perfect house, but now they have to sell their house. And so they're like, okay, now I just want to get rid of it because I want to get into this new home. Can you help me sell it? And now you've just picked up another listing. So that's another way to kind of go about it, for sale by owners. All right, so here's another script for you. And as I said, you can do it. Upgrade your email marketing. So definitely, everyone's checking their emails on a daily basis, multiple times a day. So if you can add little things in your email signature, or anything that you are sending out on a consistent basis, you should do it. So whether it's the links to List with Exit, whether it's the 4-minute million formula, whatever you want to do, make sure that that's in your email signature. Make sure that it says realtor somewhere and what you're looking to accomplish. because people are reading that, and there might be people that you never know of or never thought to ask or talk to, and they see that you're a realtor, and then they're like, oh, I didn't realize you were a realtor, or I forgot you're a realtor. My brother or sister is looking for a place, whatever. I'm looking to potentially sell and move. So those are all things that, you're putting it in your email. Make sure that you have it in your signatures. Make sure it just says it. It's going to give you those ability to at least have that conversation, and it might be a conversation piece. Also, always ask when you're running into new people now, hey, can I keep in touch with you and put you on my email list, and start, looking at building that bulk email list to start sending like a newsletter or something along those lines, so that you can constantly engage your base and you're constantly engaging your sphere of influence, so that you stay top of mind. Because it's the worst when you're, even if it's somewhere like not in Florida, and your aunt or your uncle or your mom or your grandmother used another realtor to buy or sell their house, and they didn't think to talk to you first. That's always a kick in the gut, because they don't understand that you can get a referral fee for it and you can still get paid. So make sure that you are constantly engaging your base, you're constantly adding to your email list, and you're constantly staying top of mind with people who want to see you succeed anyway. So here's some good tips of what should you include. You want consumer engagement behavior, and you want to make sure you're creating something memorable. So little gimmicky things, or little funny sayings or whatnot. You want to make sure that that's included in there, and you want to be sending it out with some consistency. Planning, you want to plan. So foolproof business plan. We talk about it all the time. If you don't know where you want to be, how do you know how to get there? So, it's the analogy is, do you just hop on 95 and just start driving? Or do you have a destination in mind? Because if you're going on 95, that goes north or south. And if you're trying to get to California, you're never going to get there. So make sure that you have that foolproof business plan, so you know where you're going, and you can start building those steps to help you get to where you want to be. In this also, here's the agent business plan. So they have something that, is a little bit more just goal oriented. So it's a very good thing. You can fill this out, very easy, and it will just keep you on track and get you going. So just remember that the opportunities are in front of you. So if you want it, you got to go get it. So, we can sit here and we can talk about it all day long, but any of the things that you're looking to accomplish, you need to make sure that you are getting and you're setting yourself up for success. So the more people you talk to, the more people you engage with, the more people you add on a consistent basis to helping grow your business and getting opportunities is what the key is. So, no matter what you do, just have action and you're going to start seeing some success. So these are the 13, real good ways to drum up business in an economy like this. So I'm going to stop sharing. It's right on 12:30, and I'm going to open it up for any questions. I threw a lot of stuff at you, so you should have some questions. Yes, Bonnie.
So I don't have a question related to your presentation, although it was very good and I did take notes. I'm on my second buyer of land. I'll just say right out loud, I have no idea what I'm doing. So is there a place that I can go take a course on what I need to know to sell a piece of property to somebody?
So you're just talking about vacant land?
Yeah, I know that some land is prepared to a certain extent, others is just raw land. I just don't know anything about this. So where do we go?
Yeah, so we can have that conversation, and I can answer all your questions about that as well. But I mean, I'm sure there are courses out there that we can find throughout, either the MLS boards or whatnot that of what to look for on vacant land. One thing you definitely, it makes a huge difference is it cleared or is it not cleared?
Right.
The use for the land and the zoning is big deal. And then they're gonna want to get a feasibility study. That's the
Mhm.
same thing as like a home inspection, but for vacant land, because it's gonna go and tell you what's on the land, what it can be used for. If there's any problems, like gopher turtles, for instance, is a big deal here in Florida. It's about $2,500 a turtle to remove. So if you're talking about a $25,000 piece of land and you've got 3 turtles that need to be moved, well, you're looking at $7,000 or so just to remove those turtles. That's a deal breaker for a lot of people. So those are type of things that you want to look out for land, but land is fairly easy. And it's, as soon as you've done 1 or 2, you'll get kind of the hang of it. And there's not too many surprises with it, but we can definitely talk further on all the ins and outs of it in the
Yeah,
contract.
yeah, because the saying is, well, my old boss used to talk about known unknowns. So I don't know what I don't know,
Right.
and I don't know what to ask.
Sure.
So, maybe you could, and I looked on I think I looked on the RAIRC site for a course. I didn't see one, but
Mhm.
if I just want to say, if you can come across something that would be useful, that would be helpful to me.
Sure.
So that I don't screw anybody over.
You're fine.
Okay,
It's just it's just different language in the contract. But it's
right.
basically the same thing. You've got your cash deals, you've got your yeah, and Timmy works on a lot of vacant land deals, so she can definitely help you as well. But it's cash or financing. There's different stipulations to it, but for the most part, it's very, very similar to a regular, home sale, just you don't have a home on the property. So,
Mhm.
that's the funding for it's a little bit different when, they have like a loan on it.
Mhm.
There's not too many carriers that will fund vacant land. That's why you see a lot of cash deals. So those are little nuanced things, but for the most part, it's very, very similar to the process of buying and selling a house.
I won't take up any more time. I just
You're
wanted
good.
to bring that up just because like I said, I'm a little uncomfortable and I just got my second request. So I'm like,
You're fine. Yeah,
okay.
we can help you.
All right, good. Thank you.
Cool. Anyone else have any other questions? Okay. And Kim just said you can also reach out to the planner of the day to get the info on the local area. So that's through usually the building department or the appraiser um, that you can call in the local area that you're looking to get that done with. Cool. All right. Well, we're at 12:35, so that's about when we started, and me on the ending and starting on time. So have a great week, everyone. And if you have any questions, reach out.
Thank you very much.
Bye now.